Hi Year 10 and welcome to your home learning for this week, lesson 2, which is your assessment about rivers. As you know, we stagger your assessments so you are assessed in the topic afterwards, just to make sure that you can recall and retrieve all of that information needed for when you sit your end of Key Stage 4 exams next year. As you can see from the slides, you've got two questions this assessment. Question 1 will be a skills question, as it always is, and question 2 will be an explain the formation question. It looks like a short assessment, but that is because we didn't completely finish rivers last half term due to you guys keep isolating. So we've condensed it to check your skills and your formation skills, and then we will go back and do some of the other stuff when you get into year 11 to make sure that you've got the whole curriculum for you. So really important before we go any further, it is an assessment lesson, so you do need to treat it as such so we can get a clear picture of where you are at. You can either type your responses on a Word document and upload this to class charts, as this would be easier for us to read and mark. However, if you are writing on paper, it is not a problem. You just need to make sure that your handwriting and the photo of your work that you take is very clear, because if we can't read it, we can't mark it, and then you don't get a grade. So starting with question 1, as you can see on the screen in front of you, there is a scatter graph with a line of best fit, which shows us how sediment size, so rock size, changes as you move from source to mouth. As a quick reminder, the source is the start of the river, so here it's 0 kilometers distance from the source, and then the mouth is the end of a river, which is around 41 kilometers from the source. So this shows us how that rock size changes as you move from the top to the bottom. Using figure 1, I want you to answer the following questions. So question A is to describe the trend in sediment size from source to mouth. All this question is asking you is how does the rock size change from the start to the beginning, for 2 marks. So your first sentence would be, generally sediment size does what? What does it do? Does it increase or does it decrease? Closer in then, to get your second mark, you are going to use some data. So how much is it at the start? How much is it at the end? What is the difference? Anything you can use to facilitate your initial argument. The B part of this question then is to outline one reason that sediment size decreases downstream. So why does rock size get smaller as you move from the top to the bottom? It is an outline question, so it is a point, and this means that because it is only worth 2 marks. So your first sentence would be, one reason that sediment size decreases is, what is the reason? And then this is because. Why does that process mean that the sediment size gets smaller? The time limit for this question is 5 minutes. So you are going to pause the video now and time yourself for 5 minutes to do this question. Once you have completed this question, you should resume the PowerPoint or the video and carry on with your assessment. You should pause the video now. Moving on to question number 2 then. If you look at the screen now, you have got a picture of an upper course of a river in Wales. Question 2 then asks you to study figure 2. With reference to the figure and your own knowledge, explain the formations of a river in the upper course. Now, it is super important when you are describing the formation of something in an exam, you are doing it in a logical order. You have to do it in a sequence. So if, for example, you did a storyboard of a certain feature last lesson, it would be the same steps and sequence that you did in that. So, point. In figure 2, I can see. The more detailed you reference to the figure, the better your marks will be. If you said to what compass point you can see the figure, what surrounds the what surrounds the feature in the figure, that would get you even more marks, as it is showing that you have got a clear and developed understanding of how to use a figure. Explain. This has formed in this part of the river because what is needed for this feature to form in the figure. This means that over time, what processes are happening to begin forming this figure, and how is that linked to the upper course of a river? It is super important here that if you are talking about erosion, you are not just using the word erosion. You have to talk about the specific types of erosion and how they work to form the feature. And then finally, this leads to what? What is the final product of this whole feature? What happens? Does it stop or does it repeat over time? Anything that you can link it to in terms of the future of this river. Our top tips for formation questions then is that it has to make explicit and consistent reference to the figure. Whereabout in the figure is the feature found? What can you see to support it? You are making detailed links to processes. Using the word erosion will not get you 6 out of 6. It won't even get you 3 out of 6. And use the checklist and the mark scheme that is on your assessment sheet to make sure that you are including everything. You have got 10 minutes now to do this question. So again, pause the video, time yourself 10 minutes answering this question, and then resume the video when you have finished that. So that is the end of your Rivers assessment. You now need to do the important part, which is uploading the evidence of your assessment. So you now need to upload to Class Charts either a Word document with your answers for questions 1A and B and question 2 typed up nice and clearly, or you can upload a picture or pictures of your handwritten answers for questions 1A and B and also question 2. Well done for participating in your home learning, especially as this was an assessment lesson, and we look forward to marking and seeing how you have done.